Powerful, compact, ARGB and ATX 3.0. These are the words the Enermax Revolution D.F power supply can be described with. The Revolution D.F series enjoys a good reputation among its users, but in the case of today's D.F, I was quite skeptical at first, honestly. Today we're looking at the 1200 watt version of this 80+ gold certified unit. Did Enermax release something worthwhile here, or is it just a wannabe high-end PSU? I'll be perfectly honest with you, the ARGB lighting that's supposed to be onboard has really put me off. It almost seems as if they wanted to create artificial added value. Or is it just me that got such a first impression? Am I right or wrong in the end? Either way, Enermax backs this PSU up with a 10-year warranty. The price of today's 1200 watt version is currently at about $170 to $200 US. Is the Revolution D.F really a good choice for you? As far as what comes included, quite extensive actually. So in addition to the power supply, we also get all the cables, a lot of them, also including an ARGB cable so that we can synchronize the lighting with our motherboard if necessary. Then there are screws, cable ties, a power cord, a PSU jumper, a quick guide, as well as a sticker. What immediately stands out is how compact this unit actually is, given its output power of 1200 watts. The length here is only 140 millimeters, making it even shorter than some 750 or 850 watt PSUs out there. The looks of this unit I don't find bad, although that's always a rather questionable topic when it comes to power supplies that only rarely can be seen within a system. Nonetheless, I personally always appreciate good aesthetics on PSUs. Like-minded enthusiasts should therefore really enjoy the fact ARGB lighting has been integrated into one of the unit's side panels, even though I find the implementation on here a bit cheap and tacky, if you know what I mean. I don't even know why that is. By pressing the button, you can externally switch between different colors and effect modes, or synchronize with the motherboard by using the included ARGB cable. Of course, the lighting can also be turned off. Now, since the Revolution D.F is so compact, only a 120mm fan is used for it, but it additionally sports Enermax's special DFR technology, dust-free rotation, essentially meaning that the fan initially spins in the opposite direction, in theory sucking dust out of the power supply, and then spins back up in the normal direction. However, the cooling isn't solved actively, but semi-passively, a forced solution. The fan automatically turns on when necessary, once temperatures or the general PSU load demand for it. I would have found it a lot better if we were able to choose between active and semi-passive cooling ourselves by flipping a switch or pressing a button. But unfortunately, only few PSU manufacturers actually design their units the way I want them to. At least the fan operates really quietly. As expected, it is a fully modular unit, so all the cables are detachable for clean, tidier cable management. However, I find it a bit annoying that these cables, or rather these connectors, sometimes appear to be stuck when wanting to unplug them. You do require quite a bit of force, but let's put it this way, at least nothing's coming loose so soon. For their Revolution D.F, Enermax went with a powerful single rail design, a single 12-volt rail providing exactly 100 amps. All protections are in place, of course. This is also a unit based on the newer ATX 3.0 standard, which now also includes a native 12-volt high power connector. Enermax is actually pretty generous when it comes to power connectors, because not only do we get a native 16-pin 12-volt high power connector rated at 600 watts, but also a second connector of this type, which however comes to be by making use of two PCIe power connectors on the PSU end. Although Enermax seem to be thinking ahead into the future, we still get 5 classic PCIe 8-pin power connectors. In addition to the 24-pin main power connector, there are 2 CPU 8-pin, 12 SATA, 6 Molex, and even 1 floppy. The cable length differs slightly depending on the cable strand, but generally speaking, the length is close to ideal. Of course, some enthusiasts would prefer seeing sleeved cables here, but personally speaking, I've always quite liked flat ribbon cables. At the end of the day, it's a matter of preference. I still think it's a bit of a shame for a power supply costing $170 to $200 to still only come with 80 plus gold efficiency, 1200 watts of power or not. On the other hand, if you look at competing models, things don't look any better either, so it's more of a criticism towards the PSU market in general. Now let's take a look inside the unit. Of course, I should warn you that opening up power supplies and touching any of the components in there is very dangerous and can be life-threatening under certain circumstances. Right away, I was very surprised by the platform used here. This one looks very strange, rather unusual, although it's a really clean, tidy one. By the looks of it, the Chinese OEM going by the name of SANR, sometimes referred to as Casecom, takes care of building these Revolution D.F units. It's not very common for us to see SANR technology in power supplies, even though this OEM is said to have worked with Aerocool and Coolink on several occasions. Generally speaking, SANR is known for their fairly inexpensive yet relatively good quality. I can't and will not call myself a professional in any way, but the platform does appear to be decent. We're talking half-bridge topology, DC to DC conversion, etc., all the standard stuff basically. Enermax are by no means deceiving us with their promise of only using Japanese capacitors. On the primary side, there are two by the Rubicon brand, each specified with 420 volts / 470 microfarad. While on the secondary side, there are electrolytic caps by brands such as Nippon Chemical and Nichikan, all renowned Japanese manufacturers. Regarding those polymer capacitors, I couldn't really identify the make, although these are usually not really an issue most of the time anyway, unless total garbage is used. So in theory, the platform should be able to withstand fairly high temperatures. Unfortunately, my testing options and capabilities, along with my overall knowledge, are very limited, which is why I can only carry out very basic tests. The measured voltage on the 12 and 5 volt rails at idle are good, while the voltage of the 3.3 volt rail is slightly on the higher side, but still fine. Once we increase the PSU load slightly, the 12 volt rail remains unchanged and is completely stable, but the 5 volt rail then climbs a little bit past its ideal value. As I said, that's totally harmless here too, even though these aren't the nicest values, on paper at least. Using my usual test system, the Revolution D.F with its output power of 1200 watts performs according to the 80 plus gold efficiency standard, as expected. Conclusion. So I openly and honestly admit that I was wrong about being skeptical about this unit. Enermax have apparently switched to a different OEM for their Revolution D.F series, but in terms of quality, everything still seems to be top-notch. A major strength of today's PSU would not only be its 10-year warranty, but also the fact it offers a lot of power, to be exact 1200 watts, in a relatively small ATX form factor. Enermax certainly did not skimp on power connectors, so we are even being offered 2 of those new 12-volt high power connectors to help future-proof our system. Whether ARGB lighting really was necessary on here remains to be seen. If it were me that made the decisions, I would have left out the lighting entirely, and instead I would have integrated a switch or button to allow to switch between active and semi-passive cooling, and thus further lowering the price a bit. However, from a marketing perspective, I get it, and see they want to stand out from the competition in some way, and ARGB is an option to gain attention, whether you like it or not. The Enermax Revolution D.F 1200 watt version, at the end of the day, really convinced me and is well worth recommending. Now, what are your thoughts on power supplies? How many watts do you generally go for? And what are the things you usually pay most attention to when shopping for a PSU? Are you as sensitive or picky as I am when it comes to semi-passive cooling, or am I the only one with those strange demands? If you enjoyed the video, I'd really enjoy a like. If you didn't enjoy it, the dislike button will take care of it. With that in mind, thank you so much for watching everyone, and until the next one.